Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. Joining me today is karate master and weapons expert, Mr. Steve Perry.
Hi.
Thanks for coming, Steve.
No problem.
So, Steve, can I just get a quick sort of bit of your ranks and where you are in the martial arts?
I'm a 4th dan black belt in Wadaroo karate.
Yeah.
Also a third dan black belt in Kempo Jiu-Jitsu karate. A black belt in kickboxing, XMA, and 15 different weapons.
Can I just ask you what XMA is?
XMA is extreme martial arts. It's the martial arts what I call the fun martial arts. So obviously I do teach the traditional stuff, but the XMA is all the flips, the tricks, throwing up weapons and all that. It's more theatrical than anything else.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, so before we get into all that juicy stuff, can I just roll you back right to the beginning, sort of where you was born and where you grew up?
Oh, I was born in Forest Gate.
Yep.
And then over the years, obviously, I got a girlfriend and that, and then moved up from there to Basildon.
Yep.
Had 4 children and that, and then one day I said, go out with them, find something you can do. So I went out with my youngest boy, Fox, and that, found, let's go to the karate. So I went to karate and took it up and never looked back since.
Wow, what age was that, Steve?
I was about 34.
Actually, you started sort of quite late in
Yeah,
life.
yeah.
How did you find it with the youngsters? Just
like anything, first of all, you're a bit nervous for the first month because
Yeah.
you think everybody's looking at you, you're a little bit like silly and that and everything else, but that's just the normal thing.
Yeah.
And then after that, you start to take in obviously the kicks, the blocks and everything else, and then the terminology and that, and then you just grow from there really, and you progress and you get more like hungry for it.
yeah. So what made you think of starting karate? What was the interest there?
Well, the interest there was, at the time, obviously the TV had a lot of stuff on and things like that, and obviously at that time, obviously I was younger then, and there was always like Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
He was world champion at that time, sort of thing. There was Bill Superfoot Wallace.
Yeah, Bill Wallace. Yeah.
Bill Wallace. There was loads, and I've trained with all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've trained with all of them and that, and then I just found a local karate club that was in Basildon. I just went there one lesson, and that was it. Me and my son just carried on. Yeah.
How did it go through the sort of ranks for you?
The ranks were good, but I think with me, because I've got autism,
Right.
so I'm autistic and that, and also got dyslexia, it was kind of weird because I used to practice 5 to 6 hours a day, every day.
Blimey.
And people from, say, Vincent Bell come down to see me and that, and they said, Steve, you're remarkable. In 40 years of teaching, I've never seen anybody teach like you, and the knowledge you know is unbelievable. And he gave me like a wallet thing with signed from there, like their karate and jiu-jitsu and everything else, signed by all these masters and everything else, because I used to train 5 hours, 6 hours a day, every day. And I was with one club, and it was never known of, never heard of, and I got to 0 to brown belt with just over a year.
Blimey.
But it was.
I suppose though, if you're only training, people that go to karate and do a lesson once a week, an hour a week, if you're doing 6 hours a day, you're doing like 6 weeks training in one day, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and I used to. Then, because of obviously, as I said before, the autism helped me.
Yeah.
I'm proud of it now. When at the time I
Yeah.
didn't know, and now I'm proud of it because that's what's really got me to this.
Drove you on, yeah.
Yes, drove me on, and then I wanted to learn, go through books, learning where it started, learning where the first martial arts come from, and everything. So I just went deep into it, and then I found other clubs and went round other clubs. Even though I was training at a club, I went round other clubs to pick up other stuff from different clubs and different masters to improve myself.
Yeah.
So I'm always improving myself, sort of thing. Like anything, like Bruce Lee, and everybody says, if you say you're perfect at karate, then I think you need to give up, because you never can be perfect at karate. No one can be perfect.
Yeah.
Even Bruce Lee couldn't be perfect. He's even said that himself.
Yeah, I suppose there's always more to learn and
Yeah.
different. Then obviously you cross disciplines as well. You started training other styles.
Yeah, I started training. I done Wadaroo. Then I started training in Shotokan, Shitaru, and Goju-Ryu. I also done some Aikido, also done obviously kickboxing. Yeah, quite a few different styles.
How do you find a difference in the styles, or what sort of combines the styles to be different?
I think what it is, this is the thing, with the styles, every style, I believe every style has something good. Every style has something good. I don't believe there's one better style than another style. I believe it's not the style that's better, it's the person who trains hard at that style. So every martial arts, I believe, you can learn from and as a good discipline and a good intake and good techniques and everything else. So how can I say, with the styles and that, like obviously Wadaru come off Shotokan. Now if you look at Wadaru and Shotokan, our say Sotoki is their Uchuki and our Uchuki is their Sotoki sort of thing. So it's a reverse round.
Yeah.
The katas are very similar between Shotokan and Wadaru. Yeah, I mean, because obviously in Wadaru it's pinans. Yeah, I mean, and it's different in Shotokan, but the basics are there in that kata, so they're very, very similar. And I think at the major four styles, Wadaru was meant for the fishermen, so it is meant for fighting. Yeah, I mean, exchanging techniques. And that is meant for fighting. So where the other styles, don't get me wrong, they were meant for fighting, but they have a lot more, say, katas for competitions and things like that.
Yeah. So what sort of age was it you sort of found yourself starting to teach and sort of pass on your own sort of knowledge?
Oh, they're going back a few years there. I think what it was, I was teaching as a brown belt.
Right.
From another club, because at the time I was new to it and everything else, so I was teaching as a brown belt, and people were coming to me and they was like, wow, it's unbelievable. And then that's when that Vincent Bell come on as a brown belt. He said, I can't believe you're not a black belt, it's unbelievable what you teach and what you do. Do you know what I mean? So I was teaching as a brown belt and helping obviously children, adults, anybody, because obviously karate is not about just if you're 100% physical, it's people with disabilities. Everybody can do karate. And once again, it helps other people. So if you've got autistic, it helps you because it's quite disciplined and regimented. If you've got, I don't know, an illness, it helps you. If you've got cerebral palsy, you can still do it. If you've got ADHD, you can still do it, and carries on and on.
It also has a great sort of growth on sort of confidence as well, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Especially for children.
Yeah. I think with children and that these days, especially what's going on with these days and that, parents come up to me a lot all the time and they say, oh, thanks for changing my child's life. He's gained so much confidence, or Sally's gained so much confidence. She's happier, she's more full of herself and everything else. And yeah, it does put that into anybody and it builds them up.
Yeah.
It gives them more confidence, gives them a different outlook to life as well.
Yeah. What about the, obviously there's a lot of discipline goes into martial arts. How did you find that when you first started out?
First of all, obviously, when I first started, you're going to think straight away, what? But obviously, after a while, I think the discipline comes in line with respect. To obviously, to earn respect, it works both ways. You give respect, so you get it both ways. And I think with the discipline, you do need it. It keeps you structured, it keeps you focused to what you're supposed to be doing, and everything else really. So I think
it's a little bit like the army, isn't it? Like when you see karate training, like everyone line up and the bow and sort of regimental, isn't it?
Regimental, yeah, very regimental, and it works. Yeah, I mean, and not just that. That then gives confidence and also gives a lot of children boundaries, because some obviously children ain't got no boundaries.
Yeah.
And it gives them that boundary and it gives them that focus, it gives them that outlook in life as well.
Yeah. So Steve, when did sort of weapons come into your sort of life?
The weapon was I was trained in that, and then one of my friends and that was just speaking to him. And one of my friends and that, he said to me, oh, why don't you come down to weapons class? I said, oh, where's that? So I went to see a man called Albie, very good, very nice man as well. And he welcomed me to the club. And then that, and And I thought, it's all right, train here, blah, 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 just under weapons. And he went, yeah, that's no problem. So I started training under him, obviously for the traditional side. And then for the XMA side, there was quite loads. There was like Lisa, I learned from Lisa, some of the stuff from Chloe Bruce.
Chloe
Jackson.
Bruce is quite a big name now, isn't she? I think she does all the stunt work in movies in sort of American stuff.
Oh yeah. Chloe Bruce. Well, the thing is, you've got to look at all my friends that I've judged, because I judged as well, and have helped.
Yeah.
They're all in the stunt business. So I've got, say, Chloe Bruce, there was Luke Scott. He's another, amazing athlete and everything else. I've learnt stuff from him, watching him and everything else, friends of him and his dad. And he's done things like, I don't know, Kingsman, Stunt Double, Spider-Man, Star Wars, even Zara. Met Zara, Python, very nice lady. She's in the stunt work. I could go on and on, do you know what I mean? It's just like the other day, I was speaking to the world champion, the best in the world, #1, Jackson Rudolph. I've judged him, I know him, I've spoken to him and that a few times and everything else. And I said to him, seriously mate, can you do me a video, because some of my students just need a little bit. Yeah, because of the freestyle. He said, no problem. So he said to him, like, Ollie this, blah, blah, blah. I've done a video, sent it from America straight over on Messenger. And
nice.
It was nice for the kids. So yeah, it's all like a family unit. And that's how comes I met Chuck Norris and people like that.
Oh, you met Chuck Norris?
Yeah.
Where did you meet him?
He was at a competition.
Oh, wow.
I met Chuck Norris at a competition. I've met and trained with Bill Wallace.
Yeah.
And that was in Doncaster with Paul Burnett, because we do the martial arts show every weekend, and that, and also trained with Michael J. White, Scott Atkins.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, because he asked my fox, who was doing a kick, he said, oh, can you show me how to do that, please? Go on, to show Scott.
He's really taken off now, hasn't he? Scott Atkins. Yeah. He's sort of in American films now as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
done very well for himself from British actor into the American
side. But I met him again, and I met him at the Doncaster martial arts show with Paul Burnett and Bob Sykes, is it? Yeah. Bob Sykes, and I met him down there. That's obviously met them loads down there. The whole troop are down there, so it's pretty good. Do you know what I mean?
So Steve, can I just ask you about the weapons? What sort of weapons is there, and what do you do with them?
There's loads of weapons. You've got nunchaku, obviously. You've got sai, you've got bow, you've got joe, you've got tumpha, you've got echo, you've got. I could just carry on loads and loads. Do you know what I mean?
And you've got a rounded knowledge of all these different weapons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got a rounded knowledge like nunchaku. See, most of these weapons that you hear today, especially the traditional Japanese weapons, they was all used for farmers. So they were literally farmers' instruments that he used to, obviously, when someone was attacking them, because they weren't allowed so many weapons. They weren't allowed weapons. They were taking that away from them. Yeah. And if you look at a nunchaku, the original nunchaku was never like that. It kind of was wooden. It kind of went round like a, how can I say, and come back on itself. And it was a horse's bridle. So what he'd done, it went in the horse's mouth here and pulled here. So if they was in a fight, or something happened, they could just pull it off.
So it was more like a 3 sort of bar thing, was it? Or?
No, well, the thing is, you did have that section as well, but if you look at the nunchaku, so I'll point over there, sorry about that, but if you look at the nunchaku and that, the actual nunchaku, the metal bit was there.
Got you.
That was in the horse's mouth, and then this would come up. Right. Do you know what I mean? But also, then they not just use it for defence, they just use it for everyday stuff. They should use it for crushing soya beans, or getting bark off the trees and things like that, or skimming across rice fields and things like that. So there was a lot to do with the nunchaku. And then obviously you had the bow. What was a 6-foot bow? It was called Rokoshanka bow. Yeah.
So the bow is like a broomstick handle.
Yeah, basically. It's like a broom. It's like a broom. It's very hardwood. Yeah, rosewood, very hardwood. And even that, they used to use that for obviously carrying water. Yeah, I mean, so bucket this end, bucket in that end, and then they would come down obviously and take the water back and throw. But then same there, they use it as a weapon. Yeah. Obviously to defend themselves, and you got the sai. even the sai itself.
So the sai is the one that the old Ninja Turtle had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The metal.
Yeah. And there's 4 or 5 different things there, because the sai was not just that. You used to have smaller sais, but they used to go in the ladies' hair.
Right.
So the ladies can use it and throw and things like that. And also, don't forget the sai as well. It was used a long time ago as like a religious actual tool sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the Japanese and that all used to have 3 sai. So you used to have 2 here and 1 in the back. So the police could actually, obviously, come it around their head and throw it at people.
Violent in them days, wouldn't they?
Like throw it, but you could go on, and all these weapons have a responsibility for everyday living.
Yeah, so really the weapons originally weren't designed as weapons.
No, they made
Just
them.
ordered them into weapons.
Yeah, they kind of brought it out, and obviously thought, right, how do we adapt? Like karate, any martial arts. And you're here, well, I ain't got this, I ain't got I don't know, I've not got a nunchaku with me, what else can I use? Oh, I can use a pen, or I can use my wallet, or I can use this, or I can use keys. There's loads of stuff you can adapt.
Yeah. So just go on to the little bit you said about XMA.
Yeah.
Can we just go into a little bit of this about what it is and
Yeah.
explain to everyone?
What happened was, you had the traditional karate, yeah? But then what happened was, I do believe it came from America, yeah, and at the time, and you can see a lot of people, world champions, who I know, obviously I've got on Facebook as well, and friends and everything else, but you look at people like Ray Parks, I don't know if you know Ray Parks.
I don't know.
He done all the, like Bo, world champion and all that, very good at XMA. Now Ray Parks was Darth Maul in Star Wars.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, and the Ninja Turtles, they are from the States as well. Now with the XMA was more with, say, freestyle bow. So it's not hard bow, it's very light bow, handmade. So you can spin it, twirl it, throw it round, spins, you can back tuck with it and everything else. Then you had the swords where you can do a single sword, like bows, you can do 2 bows at once, freestyles, or 1. At the moment, the best one in America, like I said the other day, I was speaking to him the other day, best one in America is Jackson Rudolph. Very nice man, they're all very nice, very humble and that. And he's best in the world, and you see some of his stuff, he'll spin something like 3 or 4 times before he catches it and throws it up. And then it goes around the body, around the neck. And with the swords, there's freestyle swords where they do 1, and they do the same there, throw them up in the air and things like that, and catch them, somersaults, or they do 1 where it splits, so it's magnetised. So what happens is when they pull it out, 1, then they've got 2.
Wow.
Sort of thing. And then they throw that, and the tricks they do with these is unbelievable. Not allowed to touch the blades, obviously. And the same with nunchaku. They do double nunchaku. I think it's Mackenzie at the moment. She's very good from America. And she's been obviously world champion as well as Sammy. She's been world champion as well. So they do the double nunchaku and things like that. And then you've got the Karma. And that's all twirls and throws and catching around the back of the head and throwing up and somersaults. And it just goes on and on from there.
So how much time did it take, obviously, so to do the XMMA? Do they need to know the basics of sort of the traditional one first, or does it just learn it all together in a mixture? Or?
See, my belief is, and this is my belief, I think the traditional always comes first, because the traditional gives you the traditional stances. Because in the XMA, with their stances, they're quite long stances. So then by having it long stances, they can move quicker. And it looks a lot more cleaner and everything else. So my belief is you do traditional first. Traditional is your basic, traditional works. The XMA doesn't work, it's a bit of fun, yeah? So and I believe all my students, if they do traditional first, and at the same time they can do the XMA, then they're learning it side by side, then everything's gonna look very spot on, if that makes sense, because you've got the foundations. You've got to have the foundations, like building a house. If your foundation of your house is rubbish, then your house is going to fall down. If your foundation of your house is solid, then it's going to stay up for many years, and anything what hits that brick is going to ricochet off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So how much training has to go into these sort of things before someone could go out and compete and stuff?
I think with competing, you can compete. I believe you can compete anytime you want. Do you know what I mean? But you've got to have a basics to know what you're actually doing when you go out there. Do you know what I mean? My belief is you know how to bow, you know your basics, you know what to score, what don't score. I think you've got to know your foundation, your basics before you go out. Some people, obviously I ain't saying, you know what I mean, but some people might think, oh, just go out and do it. No, it don't work like that. You've got to know what you're doing, you've got to know the rules, you've got to know what you can do, what you can't do, you've got to know what's going to win and everything else. But my belief is just you going out for the first time on a competition on a mat, first day you go out, as far as I'm concerned, you're number one already. Because just to get on that mat for the first time ever in front of all them people and you've done it, you've already overcome step one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose it's confidence to get up there. It's like sort of showcasing, aren't you? All eyes watching you.
Yeah, it's like everybody's watching you, like, oh my God, I'm like a little mouse here. Everybody's looking at me, look at me. Give them that confidence, whisper in their ear, get on that mat, I promise you, everything will be fine. Yeah, if you mess up, doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you've already won by getting on that mat. And they just go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then after that, obviously it's mat time, and then it's putting the hours in. If you want to be a world champion, then you've got to put the hours in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's no good saying, I want to be a world champion, but I'm going to change 2 hours a week. Forget it, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Okay? Like any sport, especially karate, what you put in, you get out.
Yeah. Could I just ask you, Steve, so with all your martial arts, have you ever been put in a position in sort of real life where you've had to use that, or it's got you out of trouble?
Yes, a couple of times I've had to. Yeah, a couple of times I've had to in real life, and I've had to use it a couple of times, and yeah, it's helped me out.
Got you out of trouble?
Yeah, it's got me out of trouble. It has got me out of trouble. One time, obviously I ain't going to go too deep into it, obviously, but one time there was 12 people, and I started, because it was only me and my mate, and we was over, this was in Lee Valley, over there, ice skating, and everything else. At my age, we give it a go. And yeah, we was out there, and 12 kids come up with knives and everything else, trying to take stuff off us and that, and my mate, and then I said no, blah, blah, blah. 2 of them went the other side, and then they all run off. I chased after them, saying I want my mate's bracelet back, please.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, yeah, I've had to use it a couple of times, but only been really put on the spot. One time, it was never meant, I didn't actually use it, it was the, say, surroundings of martial arts that got me out of it. So it's not just about, oh, I'm going to stand there, I'm going to defend myself because I can beat everybody up or defend. It doesn't work like that. It's not about that. Do you know what I mean? You can defend yourself, you can use it, and it is good to affect, but also it teaches you the awareness of your surroundings. Yeah. So by me not going over there, I thought, oh, no, that's not good. Something just told me, no, that's not good. I went the other way, I found out, yeah, it wasn't good, but I went the other way. So it does help you in that way, and it keeps you to, say, stand in the right line. So stand in the light, doing this, doing that. It's kind of weird, you automatically do it.
I suppose, well, it's the confidence, isn't it? I mean, if people approach you and you're confident and you're not sort of scared, because it's probably become second nature to you, sort of fighting and stuff, then they're going to be a little bit taken back by it, aren't they? I
think taken back, yeah, because obviously they don't know you some people don't know you from Adam and Eve, so at the end of the day, yeah, but when it comes into it, yeah, one of them he was a bit strange, and he did say after, I'm very sorry. When he was on the floor, though. Yeah, I mean, but and it's only for defending. You never go and attack someone or anything like that. It's only for defending. And people get the wrong idea of martial arts. Do you know what I mean? Especially karate and that. It's not about hee-yah and hoo-yah and punch and beating people up. It's not all about that. There's a lot more to martial arts. Yeah, I mean, I think the films and TV have given it that.
Yeah, blowing it up a little
Yeah,
bit.
kind of blowing it up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, because it's like even from one of the films, you see one of the films, one of the blokes, I can't remember what film it was. Oh, I think it was Karate Kid, and he remember that's and he that one in the dojo, and he's obviously put him on the floor and put paint over his head, and he went to him like that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a gimmick. Do you know what I mean? The stuff with karate and martial arts, a lot of it, what they portray in say TV, is not what it's really like in real life, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? The films, but they've had to do that to get people in the box office.
While we're talking about sort of making the noises and that, what is the actual traditional reason for sort of making the shouts in karate?
We go, right, with the shouts, yeah, I believe with the shouts it builds up the adrenaline. So once it builds up there, yeah. Two, it's the chi and the power from inside, yeah. I believe you're building it up. It's kind of weird. How can I say it in a different way? If you noticed, if you ever been indoors or there's been in your lifetime, there's been something really heavy, yeah, really heavy, or you've been put on a spot, yeah, and something's obviously fallen on you, it's really heavy, and you've gone, and suddenly you can lift it. I've seen a man, no lie, it's fallen, I've seen him on his own pick up a car, yeah, not like on it, yeah, but pick it up and push it over. And I believe it gives you that adrenaline, power, and also breathing as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it gives you that sort of thing. And it gives you extra powers, as I say, because of the adrenaline. It's all kicking in. And not just that, I think on the other side of it, from, say, normal public's point of view, is also, let's face it, if you're going to attack someone and they come out and it's like that, I think a lot of people are going to think, oh my God, he's a nutter. I'll leave him alone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's obviously the other person who's attacking you,
I suppose
pushing
a
them
little
back.
bit, if you think like the animals, like a lion or a dog, a bark,
roars.
a roar, it's
Yeah,
that
yeah.
type of,
Yeah.
sort of like a telling you back off type of thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a back off sort of thing, but also, not just that, it gives you that adrenaline, it gives you that chi inside, yeah, and that power as well. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
So could I just ask you a little bit about your teaching now, Steve?
Yeah.
So you run your own sort of schools and stuff?
Yeah, I've been running my schools now for full time for a year.
Yeah.
Since I think it was October last year. I teach in Basildon, Grays, Southend, and Langdon, and also soon be opening up in Colchester and Clacton-on-Sea.
Oh wow, spreading about.
Oh yeah, because I live that side, but obviously I'm coming down to teach, and I teach in schools down here and everything else, and I obviously teach in, say, churches and community centres and schools across the Essex borough. And also we just been given a little bit of a funding from Find Your Active Essex as well. And that's why a lot of them are on our flyers now, because they want to get kids off the street, get parents off the street. Because with technology these days, I believe technology is good, but I think technology has made a lot more people lazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a bit like, you know, when I was a kid, you was always out on your bike, climbing trees.
Yeah.
Well, now all the kids want to do is just sit there
Yes.
staring at an iPad or something, isn't it?
And yeah, and it's kind of weird because same when I was a kid, I was up there climbing trees. All right, we was playing, obviously, I don't know if you did, but knock down and all that. Knock on people's doors and let them run after you and things like that, and run outs and I mean, and rounders and all that sort of thing. So you was always out. But now it seems a lot of the children, a lot of the parents now don't want to get out. They've got a bit more comfortable indoors, just sitting there watching the TV and everything else. And I find that kind of hard because one, there's so much they can learn from going to these places where they can meet other people. They can get into other stuff. Because not just karate is just about here. It's like a big family. So we have presentations, we have competitions, might say, right, we want to go over to the park. And when all the kids go over to the park and we have a bit of fun over there. So there's a lot more. Like a
little social.
Like a little social club. And I think, obviously, the kids need to come out into the lessons so they can understand, because the world we live in today, obviously, it's got a lot more.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
Yes, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's really terrible. And I think a lot of parents, a lot of people now are a bit naive to it, what's happening. And then when it actually happens, they say, oh, well, it's too late.
Too late, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you should get your kid into a physical sport. I think you should get them into any martial arts, something to defend themselves. Yeah, I mean, it gives them confidence. And then later on, if they was put in that situation, they might just walk away and go somewhere else, yeah, because they know their surroundings, or they know how to, if they're put on the spot, know how to deal with that situation.
Yeah.
What could have saved their life or saved them from any harm at all, sort of thing.
Where can people find you, Steve, if they do want to contact you for training and stuff?
Well, if they want to find me, they can find me at on Facebook at Essex Karate. Yeah. Also, we got BMAKG, British Martial Arts Karate Group as well. Also, you've got the phone number is 07 504 814 485. That's 07 504 814 485. Or you've got Steve Perry 310 at gmail.com. That's Steve Perry 310 at gmail.com. Always check us up on Facebook. We've got other Facebook accounts as well, where I think we've got about 18k at Essex Karate. And we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got TikTok as well. So we've got everything. But if you need to contact me, even just to chat, yeah, I mean, and to say, right, Steve, obviously our classes are in Essex, do you know what I mean? But just say you was living in, I don't know, Birmingham or something like that. I know quite a lot of people who I could recommend anyway. So if I couldn't do it and you're not in my area, I don't mind helping you getting, obviously, that other contact in your area. But we'd just love to see more children, more adults, more families coming here. Yeah, I mean, we just started a self-defence class on a Thursday in Basildon, 7 to 8, for adults and children. It's a self-defence and fitness class, musical fitness class. So we're going to have a bit of fun as well, because you've always got to have a bit of fun. But it tells you how to defend yourself, self-defence. But not just that, we'll have a little bit where you'll have a bit of music and you'll be doing punches, you'll be doing kicks, you'll be doing, yeah, I mean, so you want to be a bit of fun as well, so it's more enjoyable.
Yeah, a bit of something for everyone.
Oh yeah, definitely, a bit for something for everyone, 100%.
Could I just get your advice? So have you got any words of advice for youngsters that are sort of maybe being bullied or not got the confidence to start and go to a club? What would you say to them as a sort of words of advice?
I would say words of advice, my word of advice would be find someone you can talk to, yeah? If you want to talk to me, that's not a problem, give me a bell. And if you're not in that area, obviously in Essex, then you're different, I'll put you in the right area. But I think you need to, first step is call. That's the first step, call. Once you call, if you're not happy to go and do the first lesson straight away, it's not a problem. I would suggest come down and have a sit and have a look at the first lesson. I would put someone with you, so someone that's been there for a few times, I would say to them, I don't know, I'll say, Catherine, could you take this new student, please, be friends with them, help them out and everything else, and then go from there. I would say definitely give us a call, definitely just make that call. Do you know what I mean? My thing is, it will help you, I promise you. I mean, because I've had a couple of students now, obviously I can't say his name, but I've had a couple of students now where he's been bullied for 2 years. He was with me 3 weeks. The bully's not bullying him no more. He listened to what I said. He done what I said. Now he's not getting bullied. And then this is not one person, this is quite a few children and that. And even a few adults as well, I've had to do it and help them. And they've done what I said and it's turned them around. I believe if you're bullied or anything like that, I believe give me a bell, talk to someone. It's not a problem, it's only a phone call, or even that, just come in through the door, have a word. It'll be done in confidence anyway, and get you started, you'll be on the right track, and I promise you, 6 months after, you won't be no more. And you'll be a new person, I promise you.
We've wound this bit up now, so
Yeah.
thank you ever so much
No,
for coming.
brilliant, it's a pleasure.
And we'll get you on to show us some stuff.
Yeah, before you go, if you'd like to say one thing,
Yeah.
this is my, what I believe, yeah? I believe a happy body, yeah, is a happy mind. Do you know what I mean? A happy body is a happy mind. And that's what I believe. And you can only move forward from that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with these weapons.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you.